They tell us governments exist to protect us, to serve the people, to uphold transparency and truth. But history whispers something darker. Something hidden beneath layers of classified files, redacted documents, and locked vaults. Because time and time again, governments around the world have conducted secret experiments on soldiers, civilians, even their own citizens. So the question isn't if they've done it. The question is, why do they hide it? To understand this, we need to step into a world where fear drives decisions. Because secrecy, at its core, is born from one powerful force: survival. During times of war, especially in the 20th century, nations weren't just competing for power, they were racing against annihilation. Nuclear weapons, chemical agents, psychological warfare, every country feared being left behind. And in that fear, governments crossed lines. They tested new technologies, new drugs, new methods of control, often without consent. Why? Because in their eyes, the stakes were too high for hesitation. If your enemy is experimenting in secret, can you afford not to? But survival alone doesn't explain everything. Because many of these experiments didn't just target enemies, they targeted their own people. And that reveals a second reason: control. Governments don't just want to defend their nations, they want to understand and manage them. Human behavior is unpredictable. Emotions, beliefs, decisions, they can't always be controlled. So some governments have tried to study and even manipulate the human mind itself. Imagine being able to influence how people think, how they react, how they obey. That's power beyond weapons. That's control over reality itself. But here's where it gets unsettling. If these experiments were truly for the greater good, why hide them? The answer lies in something far more human: accountability. Because many of these experiments were unethical. People were exposed to harmful substances, subjected to psychological trauma, used as test subjects without their knowledge. And if the public knew, there would be outrage, lawsuits, revolutions of trust. So secrecy becomes a shield, not just to protect national security, but to protect reputations. There's also the issue of plausible deniability. If an experiment goes wrong, and many did, governments need a way to distance themselves. To say, we didn't know. To erase evidence. To bury the truth. Because admitting to these actions doesn't just damage credibility, it can destabilize entire systems. If people lose trust in those in power, everything begins to fracture. But secrecy doesn't last forever. Over time, documents get declassified. Whistleblowers come forward. Truth leaks through the cracks. And when it does, it forces us to confront uncomfortable realities. That progress often comes with hidden costs. That power can be abused in the name of protection. And that the line between safety and control is thinner than we think. There's another layer to this story, one that's rarely discussed: competition. Governments don't operate in isolation. They're constantly watching each other. If one nation develops a breakthrough, whether in technology, medicine, or warfare, it shifts the global balance. So secrecy isn't just about hiding from the public, it's about hiding from rivals. Because revealing too much could give enemies an advantage. In this world, information is currency, and secrets are power. But what about today? Are secret experiments still happening? The truth is, we don't fully know. Technology has advanced beyond anything seen before. Artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, surveillance systems that can track behavior on a massive scale. And with these advancements come new ethical questions. Who is being tested? What data is being collected? And how much of it is happening without our awareness? Because modern experiments don't always look like the past. They're quieter, less visible. They might involve algorithms instead of chemicals, data instead of direct exposure. But the principle remains the same: testing boundaries, exploring limits, often in secrecy. So why do governments hide secret experiments? Because revealing them could spark fear. Because admitting them could destroy trust. Because stopping them could mean falling behind. And because, in the end, power rarely reveals itself willingly. But here's the most important question of all: what does this mean for us? It means we live in a world where not everything is visible, where decisions are made behind closed doors, where progress can come with hidden consequences, and where the truth is sometimes delayed, distorted, or denied. Yet history also shows something else. That secrecy doesn't last forever. That truth has a way of resurfacing. And that awareness is the first step toward accountability. So the next time you hear about a classified project or a restricted program, ask yourself, what is being protected? Who is being protected? And at what cost? Because in the shadows of progress, there are always stories waiting to be uncovered. Stories that challenge what we believe about power, trust, and the systems that govern our lives. And perhaps the real mystery isn't why these secrets exist, but how many are still waiting to be revealed. And when they are, will we be ready to face them?